Oh, hey there. 1 second. My name is Chris Baker, and you are now watching Chris's Corner. You'll be following me through my adventures through the news. I will be filling you in on all the newscasts that have been important to me throughout the week, or a little bit over. But I will be showing you my opinions on the stories, and you also can put your opinions down there. And now here's the episode. Hi and welcome to this week's episode. I believe today is the 19th. That's well, at least it'll go up. But I'd like to start off this episode with what I believe is probably what's on everybody's mind, at least the past few months, besides what I'm going to be talking about at the end. Gay rights activists. There's a gay rights thing going through the Supreme Court right now to determine if gay marriage is constitutional or not. Honestly, I believe gay people should have their right to get married if they want to. Because they're people just like us, and technically it's illegal to keep them from marrying who they want. That's against the Constitution, I believe, at least. But what really brings me to this story is everybody's putting up these red equal signs up as their pictures on Facebook. I get what you're getting at. Gay rights for everybody. Rights for everybody. But honestly, the Supreme Court will not hear that. They will not go onto every single person's profile and be like, oh, do they support gay rights by their picture or not? No, they don't have the time to go through, God, like 100 million profiles. But if you really want to support this, you need to get off your ass, because just sitting on the computer won't do anything. You need to actually petition, tell people that you want them to overturn the gay right law right now. Heck, New Zealand just became only the 13th country just recently to make gay rights marriage legal. Only 13 countries in the world right now? It's kind of horrible, people. But gay rights right now is basically being treated like slavery. It's keeping them from everything they want. If you get your rights taken away for getting married, how would you feel if you're straight? You'd probably feel shitty, right? But you need to get off your butts, petition around, actually go to the court hearings, go to public town meetings, tell your senator, tell your district attorney, your House representative that you want this passed through the Supreme Court, because that's what's really going to get it done. Not this picture on Facebook. I'm sorry to say, but I honestly think it's a good idea, but just need to, most of these people are just like, yeah, I'll support it, whatever. But that's all they'll do, unfortunately. It's just like back in February, I think it was February 4th, I believe, became a new national holiday. It was National Courage Day. It was founded because of Rosa Parks taking a stand, not wanting to get up from her seat on a Montgomery bus. And that was led to the civil rights activists. Martin Luther King is the one that really followed her on that. But anyways, on to this gun rights crap. What really makes me mad is people think they're going to have their guns taken away. If you remember, about 6 months ago, a bill expired, meaning that basically all guns are now legal, no background checks need to be taken, and that's how Sandy Hook took place, because this person took advantage of this bill expiring. If it would have never expired, we could have saved 27, 30 lives, especially of kids. It's bad, but Obama now wants to push this bill through the Senate again. It's basically renewing this bill, and everybody is going crazy because, oh, our guns are going to get taken away. No, they aren't. Your guns are going to be perfectly safe. It's just going to be renewed. You're still going to have your hand pistols, your what used to be illegal. Your semi-automatics will be again illegal, yes. Automatics will be illegal again, yes. And everybody will need a background check. And everybody will need that minimum 7-day waiting period for that background check to get their gun. If you pass that, you'll be fine, perfectly fine. But if you have ever done anything wrong, like go to jail because of gun-related stuff or anything, you will not pass, unfortunately. Cut it off really quick. So we are back. We took a little break so my mom couldn't go up to her room and sleep. But back to what I was saying about gun control. They're not trying to take away your guns, they're just trying to limit it for your safety. I was talking to my cameraman, and he made a good point. The only major change that they will be doing is on bigger magazines for the guns, especially the assault weapons. They'll be making them smaller, so they can so they won't be able to get many rounds off, especially in cases like Sandy Hook. They'll probably limit them to about 5 rounds per magazine, which I think is pretty good, because magazines used to be like what, 20 or 30, something like that. And that could have easily been the reason why a lot of people have died so far. Not only if they could take that in the army, so they won't do that. But hey, we're only civilians. Tell our government what to do. But hey, another thing that's been really on the news lately too is Obamacare. I think it was a good idea up until when companies started becoming selfish and greedy and started cutting everyone's hours. The full-time workers across the board used to get 40 hours per week. Now I know at least at my work, and at least all the major and minor chains like Best Buy, my company, the full-time hours are now at 32 hours instead of 40. All because of Obamacare. In retrospect, I think that Obamacare would be a great thing if people weren't so greedy and selfish. But people really don't want to give out healthcare that easily nowadays. If you don't know what Obamacare covers, you know how Canada basically has its national health care, where it's basically free to everyone, but it comes out of your taxes? It's kinda like that. The Obamacare basically gives people up to about, I think it's either 21 or 26, free health care until they can afford health care themselves. 26. Okay, it's 26. Obamacare will also give poor people, I'm sorry, I don't want to use poor people, financially unstable families the option of opting into the system so they can clean up themselves, basically. And it'll give people that aren't basically in the unemployment line right now getting their checks, and people who are disabled right now health care. And it's basically, it'll come out of our taxes if you make over a certain amount, or if you work so much. And if you work so much or make so much, you'll be substitute to actually paying less into taxes for Obamacare than not making that much or working that much, because it will come out of your taxes no matter what, and they'll actually take it more out if you're not working that much. I don't know why, but right now companies are getting scared. They're starting to get more employees into their workforce so they can drive the hours down, and they just don't want to be opted into paying more taxes, supposedly, and federal taxes and state taxes, which in all reality is not true. If they just give more hours to the people they already have. But back to the gun control thing. I forgot to say that right now the gun control is at a filibuster right now in the House of Representatives, meaning no side has won, but it's still in negotiations. But they have already taken a vote. Right now, to get through the House of Representatives, the bill has to get exactly 2/3 or above to pass through. And but right now, it's people are basically voting no just so they can have more time to negotiate the bill. Sorry. But I think in the House of Representatives, they took a mock vote on this. It was 55 votes to 45 votes, which is actually kind of pathetic. Because, how could he not really have people disagreeing that much? Especially when one side controls the House more than the other side, like Democrats versus Republicans, or Republicans versus Democrats. I mean, I understand if you hate the president that much to just try to screw the nation over like that. But I mean, no, I don't even understand that. Because Obama was put in a situation where he had to clean up after another president, and it wasn't really his fault, and everything was blamed on him for going how it was. It wasn't his fault for the credit score dropping. It wasn't his fault for the recession, and it wasn't his fault for the wars, which everyone is blaming him for. I don't get why you're blaming him for, when in all reality, it's Congress that approved the war bills, which in all reality we did not need 2 wars at the time. Obama did good in taking us out in at least one of the war zones, and that's really what's brought us out of the recession, so he's done good in that way. But the presidential order that he had won't go into effect until it's passed, which most people don't realize, because people are like, oh, presidential order, it's going to go into effect immediately and it's going to screw us over. No, it has to pass through the House and the Senate, both, even before he can even say yes or no on it himself. And even if he says no, the Senate can overturn his no too. So, and the gun control is like, it actually would do us good in keeping criminals off the street more with guns, and they won't be able to, like in the JFK thing, they won't be able to snipe our president, they won't be able to go into elementary, shoot people up, and it'll keep guns out of the wrong hands. And if you are a hunter, I understand that it's for the pure sport. You don't go off with these illegal guns trying to nuke these deer and all that. You go off, like, shoot at them once. Yes. And maybe 2 or 3, but in all reality, you won't shoot him again and again after he's down. But you don't really need the big magazines to go out and shoot them. And but anyways, I like to go into this whole conflict of interest on the new Lay's contest.
Oh, baby.
My cameraman over here keeps on eating these kind of chips, even though he claims to hate them and all that.
I do. I'm just trying to figure out what they taste like. It's like, dude, no, I'm trying to figure out what they taste like. I'm convinced I'm trying to figure out what it tastes like. Because it tastes sugary at one point, and then at another point, it tastes like a chicken covered with regular potato chips.
Honestly, I don't know how you can stand them, though.
Dude, I can't. I really can't. That's why I'm chewing right now.
But right now I'm eating the cheesy garlic bread one, which is a whole lot better than this. This was like half full before we started this episode. And look at it. It's like almost empty now. While this one is still like almost full. But these chicken and waffles, I'm sorry for you, Christina, in Arizona, but they made me almost puke. Honestly, if you're watching this video, please tell me how you came up with this combination of flavor. But I honestly I can't stand them. I got one chip into my mouth, and I literally had to spit it back out into the sink. I literally almost gagged. I'm sorry, but
Eat another.
No, I'm not going to eat another. But to Karen Weber Mendelheim of Wisconsin, you are a definite cheesehead. She is, because she made a good combination. I absolutely love these. Honestly, I was kind of iffy at the start because I love chips and I love cheesy garlic bread, but I didn't know how they'd make it into an actual flavor. Because I was like, maybe. And then the cameraman's mom brought them over. I'm like, okay, I'll try them. And I'm like, ooh, I can't stop eating these now. And my old favorite used to be the cheddar and sour cream, but these now have my vote. I am in love with these. 22?
12.
But I'm sorry, I have another. But, earlier today, when we were recording for our other shows, which we were recording episode 3 of Chewing with Greg, episode 2 of Kitty Hunting. Kitty Hunting is premiering right now. We'll be uploading the episode 3 of Chewing with Greg later. But literally right before we started recording for those episodes, the power went completely out. Greg just made the creepy music.
Bum bum bum.
But I want to bring this up on my show too. This one. I don't have the other one that we added. Or do we? We don't. But this one, it's not that bright as you see it. He's trying to turn off the lights right now. This one. Can you even really see my face? My cameraman was shaking his head no. So. But with the other one, it illuminated basically the whole room. And you had this major glare because I'm the cameraman for his show. And it illuminated quite a bit. I just can't believe it. And this one is made by wacco, which is basically the same brand as the battery.
Oh, it is the same right here, right?
But it's made by Sears, which kind of makes sense that it's like crap because they're kind of crappy. Chain. I'm sorry. I used to work there, and they treated me like crap there. It's like I was subpar, subhuman. I worked the cash register there, and also carts there. I mainly worked the cash register, and like a couple months into when I was working at the cash register, I had a gun held up to my head, and it was. Of course, you're gonna be distraught over it, and I just couldn't collect myself, but they were basically like, get back out on the floor. We don't care if you don't have your mind still. We need you out on the floor now. Do everything on this list, plus do the cashiering. And that's not the only time that they've treated me like crap. And for a couple months, I only worked utility, which is cards. I would take carryouts too for people that were getting from layaway. But it was right after the Christmas rush, like right in between Christmas and New Year's. They wanted me to take down these there's like hanger things they had in the back on top of trying to get the carts in, which we were still busy after Christmas. But one day I was finishing up that work and I had dropped one of those steel beams on my foot, and I had gotten surgery on my knee of the foot that I hurt, so that reacted too. I couldn't even walk, so they sent me out to do more carts while I couldn't even walk at all. And then, but I got fired from there for supposedly being tardy too much. But even though I had only called in sick once when I was legitimately sick, I was puking my guts out and all that. So I legitimately couldn't go into work. And they were like, fine, that won't affect you, but come to find out, a couple weeks later, I get fired because of it. In their records, supposedly I was tardy 10 times, absent 4. I don't know how I managed that, but yeah. But what can you do? before I go off into the last story of this episode, I like to do a little thing. The movie of this episode is called Mystery Alaska. It stars Russell Crowe. Is basically an old hockey player trying to play in Alaska. He's basically kicked out of the Saturday night game. Well, the Saturday game, where they play every Saturday in this town called Mystery, which is fictional. And then all of a sudden, this reporter gets the New York Rangers to come and play for them due to his Sports Illustrated article. And all of a sudden, he's asked to first be the coach. Since they only have like 8 guys and 2 goalies, he's asked to be the captain and the 9th player on the ice. It's actually a really good movie. Go watch it. Comment below on your feelings of how you think this movie is. And also, the book of the week. This is actually 2 books in one. It's called Endless Summer. The first book is called Boy Meets World. I'm thinking of a series, sorry. It's The Boys Next Door. The second book is Endless Summer. It is written by Jennifer Echols. I'm currently reading it. I'm on the second book, chapter 5 of Endless Summer. But it follows this girl on her transformation from being a tomboy to actually a little girly girl. And she wants this boy for all her life, and then all of a sudden at the end of the first book, her whole world gets turned around and she ends up falling for her brother. Read it. It's actually really interesting. But into the final story of the episode. We all know what happened just recently. The Waco explosions, the JFK fires, and the most important one, the Boston explosion, what set it off. The marathon explosions were really tragic, especially with a lot of people not making it to finish. 3 of them died. But a lot of them lost limbs. And what's the inspiring part of this is, instead of running in fear, a lot of spectators carried people to the actual hospital or to ambulances that couldn't walk on their own. They basically turned a bad situation into a heroic situation. Hundreds upon hundreds helped out the fire department and the police force in trying to clear this out. The police department and the FBI are also asking everyone that had a photo, video near or around the area of the finish line, please turn it in. Even if you don't think you caught a suspect, please turn it in. Because every little bit of evidence will help them. Let's now take a moment of silence for the 60 to 70 people that died in the Waco explosion and the 3 people that died in the marathon explosions. No. Thank you. And God bless everybody first. Poison letter?
Mm-hmm. Alright guys, here it is. There was recent, God bless the Boston for one. That is a place near and dear to my heart, and I know a lot of guys and girls in Boston and in Massachusetts. I was born there, I went to college there. Boston and Massachusetts in general is a part of my heart. So, that's the first thing that has to go out. And on the other note, a letter was recently found. It was sent to the White House. And that contained ricin, which, for those of you who don't know, is a poison. And it was sent to Barack Obama. And, it's just, you don't do that. I mean, personally, I know a lot of people don't agree with me. I like the president. I think he's doing a great job for what he's got thrown into. But, it's the way the ball bounces sometimes. But, still. They've identified the gentleman who that did the poisoning of the letter and all that stuff. So that's just something that's sick, just flat out sick. But as well, my heart goes out to Boston.
And on that note, I'd also like to say God bless to everybody, all those families that have lost someone in the recent explosions and all that. And catch you in the next episode. And those are the most important news stories to me over this past week or so. If you don't mind, I need to get back to reading my book. Until next time, stay tuned.